Welcome everybody back to another episode of Money Pop Podcast and Money Pop Betting. I am your host. I am the president and CEO. They call me Moss Money. And what we talking about today? I had to switch. I couldn't find my goddamn headphones, man. I'm just gonna keep it a bean. I'm late because I couldn't find my goddamn headphones, so I had to think real fast and switch. Pivot a little bit, switch up a little bit. You know what I mean? Just like James Harden and switched up on us a little bit. But today we're talking football, and we're talking the King of the North, NFC North, the pesky Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers, and the Chicago Bears. And what I think is a very underrated division, to be honest with you. I think this division is very underrated. A little bit smoke and mirrors last year. So we'll look at what it was last year, what it is this year, and obviously if we can make any good bets, right? We did the NFC East, got some good bets. You can't even find the bets that I had from last week on the NFC East anymore. Can't even find them. Can't even find those bets no more, which is crazy if you think about it. They took them down. So I hope that you guys got on the train and bet some of those Eagles bets, because when they come back up, those odds will not be the same. This is why we bet them and look at them now. We get in before the sports books notice the mistakes that they possibly made and give us a little bit more EV in our plays. And when I say EV, it doesn't mean, oh, this shit going to win because they took it down. It just means that the percentage of us winning the bet went higher than when the bet went out. So we always want to be on the plus EV side. The system, the system's rigged, right? We've been coughing and shit. They messing with our air, they're messing with our water, they're messing with our food. Now they gotta mess with our sports betting, man. Come on, man. Give us a goddamn break, man. You know what I mean? We're just trying to get some cheese, baby. We're just trying to get some cheese, man. All right. So looking at last year's standings, let me bring up good old ESPN. Ooh, we got a Met up there. What the hell was I looking at? Probably was looking at some home run shit. All right, so last year, like I said, a little bit of smoke and mirrors with the Vikings. They went 13-4 last year, tied for the second best record last year in the NFC East. In the NFC period. And they had an early exit against the New York Giants. We had that money on the Giants too as well. But they won a lot of games last year with just the last possession, just kind of fluky shit. They lost a lot too. Dalvin Cook is gone. I think that's going to be a bigger hit than they think. And believe it or not, Kirk Cousins, from a passing standpoint, from a passing yardage standpoint, I think he was like a top 6, top 5 in the league. Let me look at that real quick. Like, he was up there. Yeah, he was 4th in the league in passing, which is insane. But they also had Jefferson, who just went ape shit, right? He's just, probably the best receiver in the game right now. So when you have that combo, let's go back to the combo we talked about. The first thing I look at when I look at division bets and team record bets is the quarterback and the head coach relationship. So you got the Kirk Cousins and is it O'Donnell? What's his last name again? I forget his dude's last name. What the fuck is his last name? Is it O'Connor? Michael O'Connor? What the fuck is his last name? But that relationship is just going to build on what they had last year, right? So I think they regress. I do think the Minnesota Vikings regress. I don't think they're going to be as good as obviously they were last year. And I don't think they're going to repeat and win this division. So just kind of getting a sense of what that looks like. Let's take a quick look at their schedule. So we're breaking it down, getting everything kind of ready to set up to look at our bets. I want to give you some background, what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, and then boom, go ahead and look at the schedule, and let's see if we can find some bets on the Minnesota Vikings. All right. Good morning, everybody, too, man. I didn't even say good morning to y'all jokers, man. How's everybody doing out there, man? Ready to get this money, man? Ready to get this money, baby. What up, Robbo? Tommy A. What's up, man? Back, baby. Back like barbecue ribs, man. I mean, I hear you. I hear you. What's good, bro? Been a while, man. Should probably catch up. All right. So, quick. I'm not going to break down every goddamn game. Going to be wins and losses, wins and losses. All right. At home, against a bad Tampa team, they should win this. Against those Eagles, no, sir. And you come in here, too, with your bullshit? Yeah, right. So, loss. This is maybe a win here. I've always said this. Minnesota always has a great home field advantage. It's very underrated. Even when they were outside and played at the University of Minnesota, when all the snow and shit messed up their dome and whatever, they still had a good record outside. Outside, but just at home. So they always have a decent, good home record. So I wouldn't surprise me if they win this game. So I'm going to take this as a win. So they're starting out 3-1, lost to KC. That's 4. Let's just see the losses because it'd probably be easier just to do the wins and losses. So got a loss to Philly, that's 1 loss. A loss to KC, that's 2 losses. I think they split with Chicago. Lost to Chicago, that's 3 losses. Lost to San Fran, that's 4 losses. At Denver, that's another loss. I think that's 5 losses. At Cincy, that's another loss. That's 6. And then they lose. They split with Detroit. I think they sweep maybe Green Bay, but they split with Detroit, and that's 7 losses. So give or take, just scanning it real quick here, about anywhere from 7 to 8 losses. So let's bring up the sports book real quick here. And before we get into the bets, man, let's look at our poll question too. Poll question brought to you by Fan Up. Best way to enjoy fantasy sports. Daily MLB contests are still going on. So for all you DFS folks who still betting on the fantasy stuff on MLB, check out Fan Up on your Apple devices. Still use the promo code A2D. You still get 5,000 points, which is a value of $50. Let's go to wins and losses that they have for the Minnesota Vikings. And our poll question is the Chicago Bears will win the NFC North. It's at the bottom. I thought it was probably pop up. It's a ticker. The Chicago Bears will win the NFC North for the first time since 2018. Agree or disagree? Go ahead and drop in the chat, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are. Like, subscribe, hit the notifications while you're at it. Let me know, man. What y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking about the Chicago Bears taking it down? We're going to break down each one, starting with the Minnesota Vikings because they won last year, but I think they're a good bet. I actually think they're a pretty decent bet. It's all about Fields progressing. And obviously the comp is Hurts. So what do you do with young quarterbacks? And we'll break this down once we get to Chicago. I probably should have started with Chicago, but we'll break this down once we kind of get to Chicago more. But you get him some weapons, right? The one thing I was looking at last year when I was looking at highlights and a little bit of tape, just to get a sense of reminding myself of how Chicago played, Fields' acceleration is ridiculous. Like, he's another gear when he takes off. Not like Lamar, like kind of like Lamar Jackson acceleration. Like, once he gets a full head of steam, there's very few people who's going to catch him. You know what I mean? And like everybody around him just seems like a step slower. And it's the reason why he ran for 1,100 yards last year. So it wouldn't surprise me if he runs for over another 1,000 yards, but he has to keep progressing as a passer. And we all know that. I'm not saying anything we don't know. But getting DJ Moore was huge for them. So the Vikings, these are exact win totals. Let's go to the win totals. Minnesota Vikings. Over 8.5 wins. Huge drop-off Huge drop off from from last year in 13-4. So the books expect a lot of regression from the Minnesota Vikings, and I couldn't agree more. I'm probably not betting this, but I think there's some value on the under here. We picked out 7 losses just by glance, and we're not even talking about we're not even talking about what's the word? We're not even talking about kind of fluke losses or really dissecting the schedule, just kind of glancing, giving you wins and losses. So I kind of like the under here, to be honest with you. I can see this being a 500 team, 8-8 team. I really can. And you got plus money on the under, too. They don't have a run game. And I think that's going to hurt them more than they think. Like, they obviously picked up their first-round pick, Addison, from USC, the receiver. And that's going to help because Thielen left and all that. But still, I don't know, man. I don't expect Kirk Cousins to be a top 5 thrower next year. And if he is, it's because they're always behind. Like, they were winning last year, and he was there. If he's that again with over 9 teams, like they're trying to come from behind. So what other bets can we do or look at the Minnesota Vikings? All right, so the obvious bet is, and if you watched this last year, if you follow me on Money Pop Podcast on YouTube and all social media platforms, you'll know that we won our 16-1 bet on Justin Jefferson winning offensive player of the year. So he had over 1,800 yards last year, which is just insane. So looking at him again from a regular season prop perspective, he's obviously the odds-on favorite, plus 650. Now, you just heard me break down about Kirk Cousins being in the top 5 in terms of passing yards. And if he's back in the top 5, like I said, it's not because they're winning. It's because they're having a throw to keep in games. So it's very possible and very likely that Cousins has to throw again a lot this year. He's definitely going to throw over 4,000 yards. I think he's done that almost probably every year. Probably has not thrown for 4,000 yards since like the Washington days. So, I mean, when you look at this, it's not the worst bet in the world. It's definitely a good bet. He gets the most targets. He's going to have top 3 in receptions. He's going to have eye-popping games. But there were games last year where he disappeared a little bit. Like he had these – I had him on fantasy, so I know. Like he had these crazy big games, 12 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. But there were certain spots where defenses shifted to him, and it's like somebody else has got to beat us. And that's why I like the under. I wouldn't bet this, even though he's the odds-on favorite. I would look at somebody else. Cooper Kupp is really interesting. I think people forgot how good this motherfucker is. But yeah, this is a pass on me for Justin Jefferson, and he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. So I'm a pass on the Justin Jefferson for now. All right. But other than that, there's nobody else to bet on the Minnesota Vikings. So, Addison, most regular season rookie receiving yards. I mean, Thielen gone. He left with 700. I think he had like 700 yards last year and like 70 receptions. So, odds ain't good enough for me to bet this. You know what I mean? Odds ain't good enough for me to bet this. So I think I'm a pass on anything Minnesota Vikings in terms of betting. Make the playoffs, maybe. Are they even in the list? These jokers not even in the list. Oh, here they are, 104. Odds still not good enough for me to bet. You know what I mean? Like, because I gotta wait. Like we said this last year, you gotta wait all year for these bets, for these season bets. So in this case, you want to bet something small to win big, unless your bankroll allows you to bet. Like in the 4-unit play, like 5-unit play. Like you'll wait for quick 520 on the season. But at the same time, I don't know. That's too iffy for me. And they're 8.5. They might need more in the NFC to get into to sneak into the playoffs. So might get a 7 seed might get you there, but this is no bet for me. No bet for me. All right, let's go to the poll question team. The Chicago Bears. So let's go back to the regular season wins. So last year they were terrible. They competed, but they were terrible. And again, looking at that that head coaching and quarterback marriage, head coach. I think then the guy for Chicago get fired last year. Wasn't it Nagy? So is it a new guy coming in again? Yeah. Matt Eberflus from the Colts. He was a defensive coordinator for the Colts. So that's a question mark, right? That's a question mark. So I don't know, what to think of that or what's that going to be. He's a defensive coordinator guy. So how does that really help Fields in its progression? They got more, which is a smart move, right? That's how you help your young quarterback with two things: run game and receivers. And right now, they did get the receivers, DJ Moore that they needed, but they lost Montgomery too, who was a steady running back last year. But I guess with Fields, do you technically need a running back? I don't know if you do. I don't know if you really do. Let's look at the who's their running back now. Is it Dante Foreman? He's serviceable. DJ Moore, Mooney, Chase Claypool out here dressing up in hair nets and see-through shirts, Cole Met. So, I mean, it showed up the offensive line, too. They got down all right. I think it was from Tennessee, big fella, offensive tackle. I think he was what, top 10 pick in the draft. So, he's going to play. And then they spent some money on defense, right? They got T.J. Edwards. You guys know T.J. Edwards from the Eagles. Had a great year with us last year. Tremon Edmonds from Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. So they're trying to shore up that team and put some talent in that team. Eddie Jackson back there is a free safety, still lurking around. So it's on the up and up. So last year they were 3-4, right? They were 3-4 last year. So let's look at what their total wins are right now. 7.5, which is almost double what they did last year. And it's minus 112. I think the Chicago Bears has a really good shot at winning this division. Really good shot at winning this division. And let's see what the divisions are for the winners. Because I think Detroit is the favorite. Yeah, Detroit is plus 145. They're all to me, when I see plus 145, plus 270, plus 350, plus 420 for Chicago, that tells me there's not a clear-cut favorite in this division. This division's up for grabs. This division is really up for grabs. You got Minnesota dropping down at 8.5 win totals, right? The Chicago Bears at 7.5, only one win up behind the Minnesota Vikings. Let's just skip forward to the Green Bay Packers. They're at 7.5. Detroit Lions, maybe 9? Yeah, 9.5 is the Detroit Lions. So all these teams only separated by 1 or 2 wins. 1 or 2 wins. Now, these are obviously projections, and not true. But Vegas algorithm, the people in the background, computers, whatever they do to make you get these numbers, it works because they know, right? They be close as shit with this. So when you look at this division to me is up for grabs. And in my opinion, and it goes right with the poll, I agree. I think the plus 420 does make a lot of sense. Now, got to get lucky with this. They got to go on a nice run. Let's look at the schedule right now. I think they have an easier schedule than the other teams when I was looking at it earlier. Let me bring up the schedule and see what y'all think with me, man. Like, walk with me with it. And if you disagree, that's okay. I mean, this is my eyes watching. If you trust your eyes as too, it's okay. So Open up against Green Bay could be a tough game, always tough against a division opponent, but you can win this at home, Soldier Field. You can win this at home. Then you go on the road. 3 of the next 4, you're on the road. So let's see if we can find the losses again. KC loss. Could be a little bit of a track game for KC, though. Doubt it, but it's a loss. They lose to Denver, right? They probably lose to Los Angeles, and they probably lose to New Orleans, too. So that's 4 losses. I got these as wins. They lose to Detroit. That's 5 losses. They probably lose to Minnesota. That's 6 losses. They probably does Detroit sweep them? Maybe. Coming off a bye, this could be a good game for them. This is coming off a bye, so I actually like going. The Bears here. Lose to Cleveland and maybe win out. Right, so we're still anywhere low end. 11-6 for Chicago would be insane. So I can't. That's a little bit too crazy to kind of go with what I'm thinking. But more like 500 team, just right where the line is. 500 team. Maybe they get lucky, get a couple things that bounce their way. Fields progresses a little bit better than they think. Like they win this Denver game at home. They split one of these 2 games. And they maybe sweep the division here, but they got some tough stretches on the road. They got stretches where they're away more than they're home. So like out of the first 5 games, there's 3 on the road, and then right before their bye, there's 4 out of 5 games on the road. This is a tough stretch for them, right? Kind of going cross country, and then they play New Orleans in New Orleans, and then home that Thursday night for Carolina. Even though Carolina's probably not going to be good, still tough, right? You're playing 2 NFL games within a 3 to 4 day window. That's gonna be tough, right? It's gonna be tough. Body still needs to heal. So now looking at the schedule a little bit more with y'all, gonna be tough. Gonna be tough to say, Detroit Lions a win. So if you're a gambler, plus 420. It makes like it is a reason why it's the highest up there at plus 420. But yeah, that's a tough bet for me right now. Now that I think about it. So let's go to the win totals real quick. See if we can find anything else to bet on Chicago Bears. Over 7.5. Not enough value here for me. Make the playoffs. So where are they to make the playoffs? Plus 172 to make the playoffs. Somewhat interesting. Hey, give me 1 sec. I gotta share my own shit. You ever gotta stop a show to share your own shit? I wish I had a production guy in the back who was doing all this shit for me, but they're not. So I got to do the shit myself. Got to share my own shit. You know what I mean? Only 2 of y'all share my shit on Twitter. Y'all need to step up. Come on, man. Help a brother out, right? Help me out. Help me out. Let the show grow. Plus, oh man. So you got 1, 2, 3, probably 4. That's 7 of them, right? Let's say Detroit makes it 5. I can make it as a 6 or 7 seed, maybe. Maybe. They might get in there. They might get in there. We'll see. But I don't know about that bet anymore. Let's see rushing prompts. Let's see if we can get some here we go. Most regular season quarterback total rushing yards. Ooh, Fields? Almost 2 to 1? This is a bet I like. He had 1,100 yards last year. They don't want Lamar to run, right? And Lamar's got some running backs. Let me see what Lamar did over his years, real quick. I want to bring that up. Lamar Jack. I like this bet. I think we found one. Then we found some plus money one. Let me go to splits. No stats. So most Lamar's ever run for is 1206. Last 2 years has been 700, 700, and he's been hurt both games. He breaks 1,000, Lamar, more than likely, especially if he plays at least 15 games. But I don't think they want him to run. I mean, he's got some weapons too. So with that being said, Lamar's out. We already know Jalen's out. Josh Allen's he's not up there. Anthony Richardson is the wild card, especially if he starts. With the Colts at 5-1, which is a pretty decent bet because Gardner's there. Does Gardner get the start? But see, he got Taylor, but Richardson and Taylor in the backfield is ridiculous. I mean, I wonder what his over and under, is. Let's break this down real quick. Do they have individuals yet? I don't think they have individuals yet. Nah, they don't have anything individuals yet. I like him more for rookie of the year. Might not be interesting bet. I like this bet though. Justin Fields, most quarterback total rushing yards at almost 2-1. I think this is a decent bet. It's not as good as betting, Josh Allen or even Richardson for 500. But if your bankroll allows it, a 3 to 4 unit bet here is a good bet here, I think. So let's say we meet in the middle, 3.5 units. 3.5 units to win almost 6, right? That's a decent bet. As long as he's, stays on the field, he's going to get you 1,000 yards. You know that. Like you should feel comfortable that Justin Fields is going to rush for easily close to 1,000 yards, anywhere from 9 to 1,000 yards. Do any of these guys see that? Hurts, no. Daniels, no. Allen, no. Lamar, yes. And Richardson, possibly. But even in Lamar's first year, he only had 700 yards. What was Fields' first year? Let me see. Justin Fields. Was he a rookie last year? Yeah, Fields was a rookie last year, right? No, 2 years ago. Fields walked in 420. So this is Fields' third year. Yeah, I like this bet. This is definitely one of the best bets for me. Right here. First bet of the day, Justin Fields over, most regular season quarterback total rushes right there on FanDuel. We'll lock that in. I'm trying to think, is there anyone else in here for them from a rushing standpoint? Nah, ain't nobody else in there. Because they don't really got nobody to run the ball anymore. I mean, Foreman's okay, but they don't got nothing to run the ball. All right. Next team. Yeah, they're going to make some noise, Brian. They're definitely going to make some noise. I had to pull away from that bet looking at it. All right. Next team. Let's go with the Detroit Lions. Where's Don? Where's Don when you need him? Them Detroit Lions. I thought he'd be on here with me, man. Chris says Lions are way too overrated over hired Lions. Vikings 9-8, Lions 8-9, Green Bay 7-10, Bears 6-10. Okay. Not too bad. All right, so the Detroit Lions lost a lot. They lost both starting running backs. They lose Williamson, I believe, to the first 5 or 6 games, right? Let's bring up the Detroit Lions schedule and let's see if we can do a quick compare win-loss to kind of get a sense of what we're looking at for next year. Well, this upcoming year. All right, just find the losses for me. Opening up at KC. This is going to be a good game, I think. And once again, what's the formula? Head coach, quarterback, marriage. What does that look like? And we work our way down. So Campbell and Goff have been together the last 2 years. Goff was a top 5 quarterback last year, if I'm not mistaken. If you think about it, I know from passing yards, but offensive leaders. No, I was wrong. 6. He was 6 last year. Career year, he had 29 touchdowns, 7 picks, had a hell of a season, 65% completion rate, played all 17 games. He's getting better every year. So let's look at the stats real quick. Last 2 years. Like, look at that jump. Like, look at, you know what I mean? Like, look at that jump that he had from last year to this year. And that's obviously because the team's getting better as well. But for me, I don't think he can follow this up. Right? Doesn't look like in his numbers he had the numbers last year with the Rams in 19. But look at the drop off in touchdowns. Look at the uptick in interceptions, almost 1-to-1 ratio here. You know what I mean? Look at the drop down is the completion rates. So this was a great year, but I don't think he backs it up. And this is why I don't believe the Detroit Lions will win this division, even though they're favored to. So that's why I kind of like the Chicago Bear line, because I think at 4-1, to me, it makes sense to take a gamble on a team that possibly could steal the division, and a division that's up for grabs. So going through this list, let's find the losses. Loss. Seattle's going to be tough. Let's go loss again. 2 losses to start off the year. Let's see. At Baltimore is going to be tough, so let's say loss. At Baltimore, 3. They lose to Chicago, that's 4. Lose to New Orleans, that's 5. This will be a tough route here. Lose to do they lose to Denver? Oh man. Split Minnesota 6, lose to Dallas 7, maybe lose to Denver 8, maybe lose to Minnesota twice. Division at the end, that's 9. So low end, maybe like 7 or 8 losses. High end, maybe close to 10. They could easily be 6 and 10. You know, some regression here. So we'll see how this plays out. Let's look at the book and see if it marries what we're thinking here in terms of the season total. Let me share back the book. Thank everybody for joining, man. If you guys like what I'm doing, like how I'm breaking this down, you enjoy this, let me know. It's good for me to know what you like and what you don't like in terms of this. If you like, Nate, man, we don't need all this. Let's give me the motherfucking bets. Let's give me the plays. Let me know. I'll throw it out there early. It's no thing on me. Like, I just want everybody to win. I want to win, right? I want you to win. But I also want to teach you how to do this a little bit. Like, that's the point of this, is talking it out and going through the process. So when I'm not around and you need to make some bets, or you don't have time to jump in and you can't catch the replay or whatever, you know, all right, this is what Nate is kind of a little bit thinking. This is how he's kind of breaking this down. Let me see if my thought process can follow his thought process a little bit. Take what I like, what he says and what he does, and then use it as my own. Because you don't have to blindly follow me. You know what I mean? I want you to do your own research. I want you to look at it. I want you to compare how we compare. That's how you get better, right? You can't just like blindly say, oh, I know football. I just know this guy's going to win and this guy's going to. Like, that's what losers do. You got to put in the work. It's like any other investment that you do. You got to put in the work and understand the numbers and how this shit works. It's a machine. And guess what? Machines always simply have glitches. Just got to find the motherfuckers. And that's what we're doing. Find a glitch in the matrix. There's always one. Always one. All right. So Detroit Lions are favored to win this division at plus 145. But like I said, man, I see as many losses on this team that I do in any other team in this division. Really one of the most underrated divisions, I think, that could be up for grabs. Everybody else kind of has a clear-cut, like, winner. I mean, they're in here. I think this is a little underrated. This is only like that because of New York, right? If you look at the other divisions, this is a division kind of up for grabs, but Carolina and Tampa are so bad, and so is Atlanta, right? Like, none of them have good quarterbacks. This division, tough division, used to be super tough, right? But now with the roster, San Fran's roster, Seattle has some conversation, but San Fran's roster is arguably the best roster in the NFL. Psych, it's the Eagles, but you could argue that San Fran has just as good as a roster. So, you know what I mean? Like, this division's really up. So, like I said, I can't bet them. I don't think there's value on them if they have as much losses as everybody else. They're just good on paper. So, win totals for the Detroit Lions is 9.5. I would go under here. I don't think they win 10 games next year. I don't see them being a 10-16 next year. They were 9-8 last year and didn't make the playoffs. They didn't get significantly better, in my opinion. They lost a lot. I mean, Williams had what, like 18 touchdowns last year? You think you just replace that with Foreman? I don't know, man. That's a big task to do. I don't think you can do that. Because he's not on the team, right? He's gone. And then you lose Williamson, suspension. I mean, Amon St. Brown is a good receiver. Marvin Jones, but they lost their tight end. Do we think Gibbs is really going to do all that? They got Halapula Vatai from us. Hutchinson is a decent. James Houston is going to be decent. But I don't know, man. There's some question marks for me for this Detroit team. And I didn't Deuce leave too, as well. So I think they kind of took a little bit more losses than we think. So I like the under here. I'm not betting it, but I do like the under here. All right, to make the playoffs. What are them to not make the playoffs? Are they on here? Plus 136? Not a bad bet. I don't know if I can wait that long for them not to make the playoffs. You know what I would do? I would parlay them not to make the playoffs. So everybody got that Justin Field bet. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to see if you can parlay these bets. So let me see them and then say the Eagles. Okay, you can't. All right. But you can parlay the division winners, which I really like on FanDuel. I know you can do that. I've seen that. So we like the Eagles to repeat, right? And then if we go with our poll, get lucky, right? Yeah, there's a two-leg parlay, 10-1. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do an NFC. Once we're done all the divisions, we'll do an NFC parlay and an AFC parlay. Oh, maybe we'll just do one big one. Do all the divisions. You know what? Another thing I think, I think people fake their tickets. So watch this. When I say fake their tickets, I think they fake their tickets on how much the payout is. Then you see like the $1 million tickets. I think that should be bogus sometimes. So let's do the Dolphins. Let's do since he's good. This is just real quick. Here, Casey a repeat. Right. We'll do them all real quick. And then we'll go with Seattle. Oh, maybe not. If I do $300, how much is that? All right, it's $500,000. Maybe not. Maybe they'll be faking that shit. $500,000. Let me get that millie, baby. Is that a winner? Should we keep this shit real quick? I mean, hey, quick half mil. Who won his half a mil parlay? Like, oh shit. He just came up with that shit out of his ass. Half a mil? Half a mil parlay? No, I won't do that to y'all. I don't know. We'll break it down some more. It was pretty good though. But like I was saying, I think I think Chicago's a viable bet, and I think the odds say that. But I'm not betting Detroit. I was looking for something for Gibbs from a special, like a prop perspective from the receiving side. Maybe like most rookie receptions, most receiving yards by a rookie. What's his name? Not Gibbs. Swift had almost 50 receptions last year. So Jamar Gibbs is going to get the rock. Right? He's going to get the rock. Now, will he have more reception than these guys? It's going to be tough. This will be tough, but there's a lot of mouths to feed in Seattle. Quentin Johnson is tough, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Addison is your kind of your kind of dark horse, I guess. Not dark horse, but he's going to get opportunity because there's just going to be so many people looking at Jefferson. And can he show up? 800 yards maybe. I mean, you're not going to run Gibbs. Like we keep hearing how much they're using him at receiver right now. So 60 catches, like this ain't a bad bet. 30-1. He might finish top 3. All right, where did Mingo go? Did he go to Houston? I thought he went to Houston. No, he didn't go to Houston. Where did Mingo go? I don't know where he went. Anybody know where Jonathan Mingo went? No? Let me know. Gotta share my shit some more. Who is going to be King of the North? My name is Willie Vegas. What's up? What's up, Brody? We just plowing through. I made a $500,000 parlay. What the fuck was I thinking? $500,000. But going back to this Jamar Gibbs thing, worth the bet a little bit. Worth the bet 30-1. Worth the bet, I think. We got to break down some of these other guys, but he's going to get opportunity. I don't know if a running back has ever won this before, but it's possible. I mean, what's his name? What the fuck is his name from the Chargers? Eckler, that's his name. He had over 100 receptions last year. Like, if you use him like for Eckler, I don't know. Yeah, Chris, definitely up for grabs. So, no bets on Jamar Gibbs. This is a lean here for regular season rookie receiving yards. 30-1. Bet small, win big. It's right there. So, I'm not betting it, but I think it's an interesting bet to take. All right. All right. Next bet or next team, and we'll get everybody out of here. And that is the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers are really, really interesting. Once again, we look at this quarterback and head coaching duo with Jordan Love. And the mystique of Aaron Rodgers is over. So, for really, Love took kind of a similar path that Rodgers did because he was sitting on the bench in the pine for so long. So, we'll see what this looks like. I didn't see much from Jordan Love when he did play. So I expect this team to actually be the worst team in the division, to be honest. So I think that think it's tough to see where they're going to be. We'll do the schedule real quick like we did the other ones, and then we get everybody out of here. I know I've been blabbing a little bit today. Must be the coffee. A little bit abnormal for me to blab a little bit. All right, let's do quick win-losses. We'll say loss to Chicago, loss to New Orleans, loss to Detroit, loss to Vegas, loss to Denver, right? Oh, let's find the wins. Atlanta. Well, let's say Vegas they beat. 2. No. 3, 4. They finish strong. They get 5 to 6 wins. Right? 5 to 6 wins for the Green Bay Packers, in my opinion. All right, now let's look at the book. Green Bay. Yeah, right. 7 wins, 8 wins. I mean, the rosters are still okay. Right? Roster's still okay a little bit. They got Love, they got Jones and Dillon, Watson. They got Jalen Reed, as a receiver from Michigan State. Second round pick. I don't know. The defense is good though. Gary. They got Campbell, who's going to be a fucking monster for them. No, that's the wrong Campbell. I'm sorry, not that Campbell. No, who was Lucas Van Ness? That's who they got, and I think he's a good pick. He's their type of football player. He makes a lot of sense for them. So you got Luke Van Ness and Gary on rushing and passer with Jair Alexander and Darnell Savage, with Rasul Douglas. Their defense is stout. As long as their offense can run the ball, play action, do stuff like that, they should be able to compete. I'm a little worried about the receiving core. I don't think he has much to work with. As long as Christian Watson kind of comes out again, he was hurt again last year, but I don't believe in him too much. And if he gets hurt again, it's going to be tough sledding for them. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go under on them, and I have no other bets for them. So we'll end on that note. I think, again, looking at the poll question, scrolling at the bottom there, it's a pretty decent bet to pay the Chicago Bears a plus 450 to win 420 to win the division. This division's up for grabs. All right. This is Moss Money. This is Money Pod. Thanks everybody for joining. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, hit the notification button. We will see you next week. I'm out of here.